Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Map Battle League show. We're here for week 2, and I'm joined today, as always, by Mr. Blue
Hello.
and MTheBassman.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on here. Uh, we finally doubled the weeks that we've been into this league, uh, and I believe we've got some pretty exciting results this week that we'll check out uh, in a bit. But let's just get straight in with Division 1 over here. Uh, as we can see, we have actually three wins coming up this week. Definitely up from last one. We've got Paulinho getting a win against Xander, Boxer against Solo Sensei, and then Blinky against me. We can talk about that in a sec. But first off, Baseman, let's start with your game against Soviet Spy, picking up a draw, although a pretty easy win for you in the away map, and maybe not so much for Soviet Spy.
Yeah, that went a bit differently than I expected. I practiced Busan quite a bit, and South Korean cities are pretty practicable, really, if you kind of remember the region. So I did and got a good score for it. Belgium, although I do think I'm good at it, it can still be a bit dodgy if you're in like the middle of nowhere. Uh, and I made a bit of a mistake in one of the rounds, so that's unfortunate. But um, I still got to draw on a decent score difference with that, so can't complain in the end.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that Soviet Spy did not train Busan. So there's a big difference there straight away. And yeah, I've seen that mistake what you made there, and yeah, that was unfortunate because that could have cost you the win here actually.
Yeah, this is again another one of those slightly uh, surprising results where we've seen people winning on their opponent's map in both cases. So,
To be
uh,
fair, Soviet Spy, I think, didn't choose it, forgot to
mhm.
fill it in. So, because he also told me he doesn't like Korea, so.
uh, uh, and then I'm just gonna talk about my map real quick. As I said on the show last week, I may have mistaken Wellington for Christchurch when picking the map, so that did not go well. Neither did France, which I'm normally terrible at, so I've gotten that out of the way.
Yeah, no, I think that you did. I think that you did quite okay, to be honest, in Wellington from what I've seen. Um, I think there was only one round where you actually were not able to find it, and that was the last one, wasn't it?
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say that you did still quite well there, but yeah, unfortunately not enough to get a draw. And even if you would have had a perfect score, then I guess Blinky was going to be faster than you anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, 2 times 25,000 is just something that is very hard to beat up against.
Hmm.
Plus, Blinky in France is super unfair.
Yeah, I figured I'd lose that match anyways. Uh, and Blinky, the only one here getting a double perfect score. Kodiak coming pretty close, just 3 points off of a perfect score on the Wawa map. Uh, and then other than that, I don't think anyone was too close. Actually, Bokta.
I
Uh,
think it's I think it's a good win here for Paulinho. Uh, Two decent scores. Um, Moist against Kodiak. I think this was a very good battle, um, which then ended up with Kodiak getting a bonus point there. Um, I think last time you added the bonus point also in the graphics, right?
uh,
I don't see
oh,
them right now.
yeah, that's also one of the things that's missing. Uh,
Um,
I've got this up here.
Sorry.
I've got like the sheet open next to me, so I'm trying to see if I can find the bonus points.
That's okay.
Mhm.
So let's continue. Orpheus, I think maybe he did not so good in Spain. Therefore, Sheldon would profit from it, and also picks up a bonus point there. Shumi just missed out on a bonus point, so that's unfortunate for him. I think it's a great job there by Solo Sensei in Hessen. Unfortunately, not enough for him to to come out against Boxa, but yeah, Boxa being Boxa is just
Yeah,
something that's the base will have to face up next week, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, yeah. Boxer did applaud Solo Sensei's effort in Hessen, and he got pretty close there too. I think that would net him the bonus point there. Um, so
Yeah,
that's
he
good.
gets the bonus point from Hessen actually. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay then, let's look at the standings for the week. Blinky, with his win, gets to the top of the table, as do Paulinho and Boxer. Also, together, three of them, the only ones with wins so far. Um, Following, we have Kodiak and Sheldon on 3 points apiece. Moist Flubber, Barry, Baseman, Solar Sensei, and Shumi, Orpheus, and Soviet Spy on 2. And Xander and I remain at 1 point at the bottom of the table for the week. I don't have the movement here, so we can't talk about that. But actually, the score difference, I think, stays fairly consistent from previous weeks. I think, Baseman, your score difference has sort of turned itself around with
Yeah.
that. I forgot what the game was.
Busan, I got a huge score benefit from that because Soviet Spy didn't got like 6,000. But yeah, about the table itself, it's not really right now very. You can't really say a lot about it because there's just a lot of draws, and the score difference could fluctuate badly depending on the maps players will play. But you can see that if you get a win, you can really separate yourself from that mid-table pack. So yeah, you're better off just getting a few wins at the start, so you can at least have a bit of a buffer between the lower half of the table.
Yeah, but
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, yeah. What I was gonna say is that indeed, a win in this division in the first couple of weeks is indeed giving you a boost. And but other than that, there's not much to say about the table right now. What we can see though is that Blinky and Boxa are in the top three, which is not a surprise at all. And then what I wanted to point out here the most is actually the total score of Moist Flubber, which is the highest in the whole division actually.
He's got some high scoring maps on his roster then.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on to the fixtures in place for week 3. We've got Sheldon in Illinois, again a home field advantage for him, up against Barry in the Western USA. We've got two American maps going up against each other right there. We've got Xander with 5 urban locations in Slovenia, up against Solo Sensei with Santa Cruz de la Sierra, which that is the one in Bolivia, right?
Hmm?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Blinky is in churches and cathedrals of the world, and Kodiak is on an NMPC world. Both world maps, but one very different from the other. Shumi had gone to Nigeria, no surprise there. And I have once again stolen one of your Dutch map picks, Baseman.
Thanks again, by the way.
Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna butcher it again, but Gelderland would be it.
Oh, that's not budget at all. That's good.
Okay.
Heard way worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Boxer is on an unusual world. Uh, while Baseman, you have gone for Russia. Why'd you go for that?
It was my fourth choice, I think.
Ah.
It was kind of a combination of things. I think my second and third choices were second was Benelux, third was Italy, and Russia because like Box is the type of player that I will never beat usually. So I would have to use a map that myself am decent at, but is dodgy enough that he could be making mistakes. So I think Russia was kind of a good pick for that. So and he went with a moving map, which is a bit of my weakness. So yeah, that'd be tough.
Yeah, a bit of an insight into strategy there. We can sort of see people playing for their opponent's weaknesses instead of their own strengths, uh, which is definitely a nice twist to this. Next up, we have Paulinho, home map in Romania, and Moist Flubber has gone for the near F1 circuits map, which I I think was a random pick. I know they were pleasantly surprised by the
No, no, no. It was
map
definitely
choice.
another random pick. That was the
Oh,
most popular map in the whole week actually. A lot of people went for that map.
oh. Uh, well, I hope Moist Flubber enjoys getting the most popular map of the week. Uh, Finally, we have Orpheus in the Nordics slash Northern Europe. I don't know which one the map actually is. And then Soviet Spy, his opponent, has gone for Australia, the entire country.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup, of course. So we have Sheldon and Barry on two double, well, on a double US map, which is interesting given the fact that both of them are technically seen Americans, even though that the flags don't represent that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Blinky against Kodiak, I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup, given the fact that well, Blinky is Blinky and Kodiak is actually a player who is quite good in no moving. So that is um, definitely a strategy going for his strength and at the same time maybe for Blinky's weakness, which I do not know because I think that Blinky is also quite good at no moving. But hey, maybe Kodiak is better at it, so that's a good thing for him there. Um, yeah, you Carp, a Nigerian in Nigeria, going to be tough for you. Uh, Baseman is up for a challenge there against Boxer, but indeed Russia would be potentially the map where you can beat him. So I think that's a good choice. Paulinho Flubber, well, given the fact that Flubber has the highest score so far, uh, I think that could be a high class game as well, given the fact also that Paulinho is high in the rankings. Then Orpheus and Soviet. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, probably Orpheus is better at moving and Soviet better at non moving. So you would say Orpheus is the favorite here, but I think Soviet Spy is technically Australian, so maybe that is something there. And then Zander and Solar Sensei, I think that will be an even matchup.
Mm-hmm. I am looking forward to Blinky against Kodiak because I think we could see a sort of upset from the lower half of the table going on there with that NMPC map. We'll just have to wait and watch, I guess.
Yep.
I've been quite interested in a few choices here. The American Derby is definitely going to be an interesting one. I'm assuming Sheldon is from the Midwest because he picked Iowa against me.
Mm-hmm.
So basically like home territory versus home territory because I think Barry's from California. I'm not sure. East Pacific. Um, Never knew that churches and cathedrals map. That should also be interesting, and maybe some very nice locations. And otherwise, I think Orpheus might have a good chance there because overall in Europe he's quite good, I'd say. And the Santa Cruz pick is also a bit interesting. It's a bit of a weird layout. It's like a round city with very evenly how do you say that, structured streets. I think that will take a lot of practice. So see if Xander is willing to practice that.
Yeah. Uh, Okay, let's move on to Division 2 then. Uh, Over here, as you can see, Dryfuck also picking up double perfect scores this week. One of them ending in a draw against Ollie in Liège. Uh, is that the one that we didn't have a tiebreaker for?
Yes, absolutely. This was the first draw where like the score was equal, the time was equal, or within a minute, and the distance was within 15 meters. So uh, in this game, there were for this map there were no points basically awarded for basically scoring the perfect score for both players and be so tight to each other. And one slight mistake in Reykjavik cost Ollie the match here. But then obviously he does get a bonus point for that. So yeah, that was a very tight game.
Yeah, Ollie just 5 points off of the perfect score in Reykjavik, which would have probably sealed the um, draw. Um, Although I don't know what the time difference was. We do have Danny Blondes versus Hexalt ending really close there, especially on the on Danny Blonde's map of choice, top 100 world cities by population, just 6 points apart right there. Uh, but other
Yeah,
than that,
simply two good performances by Hexal there. Definitely a deserved bonus point for Danny Blondes there as well.
I think those maps allow for having close scores as well because you usually know
True.
where in the which city you are or Singapore in general. If you train it, is easy enough to try and pinpoint.
right.
So yeah, I think that might explain the good scores there. But yeah, nevertheless, Hexal really doing well there.
Yeah, I think Hexalt just fresher off of that Reddit League Singapore week as well over there.
Yeah, but Danny Blondes as well. So
Hmm. Yeah, just Hexalt being fresher off of it than Danny Blondes.
yeah.
Uh, on that, I yeah, Brian versus WTF and Pierre versus Otomo, the only ones where they've picked up wins on their home maps. And then we've got Medone versus Gabriel and Schluty versus Diesel ending the opposite way around. But not really any matches too close together. I think
Yeah,
Schluty,
indeed. I think that Zotomo did really well on the Japanese map here because I mean, like obviously he
as you'd
lives there, but
expect them to.
yeah, but in the Reddit League he actually did not perform well on his home map, so he's making up for that here. But I think honestly that he should have been done doing better at the geodetective world because that's not generally a super hard map, as in like I mean, like you need to pick up on the clues, obviously, and
Yeah.
for some reason he did not do that there. So yeah, he ended up with a draw. I think Trickter has been impressing so far, even though that he has maybe a low score, but that's on a no moving map. So yeah, Werdok.
I was sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go.
I was gonna say that as well. I've been quite impressed by Trichter so far because in the qualifiers he looked to put up decent scores. I only knew him from the Battle Royale finals, also broadcast on this channel. So I
Mhm.
didn't know how good he was at moving, but he seems to be really solid overall. And Warlock is not a slouch either. So although the maps do are a bit weird, I guess, not your standard maps, so that could explain
Yeah,
it as well.
yeah. I don't know how good Werdok generally is in no moving, but the curves of the world is quite a hard no moving map to be honest. So
Oh, it was no moving. Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't catch that.
yeah, so I think that 15k on no moving in curves of the world is actually very impressive to be honest. Um, so yeah, that is definitely a standout result for me. Um, Brian and WTF, I think that's a tough, tight match, but no bonus point for either of them. Uh, yeah, what we already said, like Schludi and Diesel beating each other's maps there. and still a nice and impressive bonus point there for Diesel. What else do we have? We have Gabriel
I think both of
against
Gabriel
TTB
gets a
Madone.
bonus point, yeah. But
Yeah, Gabriel got the bonus point there indeed.
Madone just a bit
But
further
also
off.
that was a very, very important, very tight match when it comes to how they performed on the maps. So as you can see, like 18K against 18K and 24K against 24K. So Madone beating Gabriel on Reunion, the map that he chose, but still he got a bonus point for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently Ollie and Dreifach are good at cities because both maps were
Yeah,
cities. So for the ones facing up to them, should keep an eye out to that they
absolutely.
apparently like cities. But yeah, impressive score nonetheless because I'm a bit crappy at cities myself.
Except for Busan.
Apparently,
Yeah. Let's look at the standings as it turned out after week 2. We've got Trichter at the top of the table with his 2 wins so far, while Dreifach, Punkt, Gabriel, and WTF are just behind. In the promotion spots, although we're still a fair ways away from that. Danny Blunt, Diesel, and Hexalt at 3 points each. Hexalt, the only one with a win, getting up to sort of the upper half of the table. And meanwhile, at the bottom of the table, we've got Schludy, Wordog, and Ollie, each on 1 point apiece. Schludy's score differential really hurting him here. Almost twice less than the next person up there.
True. I think Ollie there is a bit unfortunate because what we just saw, he did perform really well. So 12th for him does not seem to be his position. But yeah, he is there for the moment. Other than that, I think the top 4 players are obviously off to a great start. But besides that, there is actually besides those 4 players that are off to a good start, there's 5 other players who still not have lost in this division. So yeah,
in
and
terms of
Drive.
points, oh sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just one more thing is Drive Back Punks is doing impressive with 3 perfect scores there.
I was just about to mention that.
Yeah, that's insane. I do think this table looks a bit more evenly distributed than Division 1, if that makes sense. There's a lot that can happen still, and score difference could really fluctuate a lot depending on a map. Like, for example, with me, if your opponent just bombs it, then that might not make a difference. But yeah, still plenty of time left for the people below there, and Dok and Schludy are great players still, so I'm not expecting them to stay there personally. Otherwise, yeah, like you say with these early tables, there's not too much you can say except that, well, yeah, the top 4 have been looking impressive, but nothing set in stone yet, of course.
I think one thing you could say about the table is that Trichter might be running away with that score differential with the non-moving maps, which we did talk about a bit last week on the show. But he's already up to almost 25, almost an entire perfect game in score differential.
Absolutely,
yeah. So here's the week 3 fixtures. We've got WTF in Spain up against Schludy in Ghana. Both not home maps, so that'll be interesting to see. We've got Zotomo on the US-Mexican border, and Hexel is going for 5 urban locations in Luxembourg, which might be enough of a home advantage there. Gabriel has 5 urban locations in Canada, while Verdok is going for the Loire River, which I believe is his own map.
it is,
Which I
but
love.
it is a polygonal map actually. So
yeah.
but it is indeed his own map.
We've got Pierre on a mixed world that I've not actually heard of before. And then we've got Dreifach Punkt in the Benelux which I'm guessing, which was higher on your map choice, Baseman, wasn't it?
I had it as second, I think.
Yeah. So Dreifach edging you out on score in week one, I guess. Uh, we've got Ollie in Randers in Denmark, and up against Diesel in Arequipa in Peru. Again, two urban maps going up against each other.
Yeah,
And
we've just seen how good Ollie is in city maps, so that is something that will benefit him, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Diesel could also be doing quite well in this kind of maps, so we
yeah,
still have to see how that is going to go.
yeah. With no information, I'd say Ollie might be the favorite for this one, but
Yeah,
with
that's what I was thinking as well.
uh next up,
Don't count out Diesel.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
good enough too.
absolutely, absolutely.
hmm. Next up we've got Brian in the Rocky Mountains up against Madone on a volcanic world. Uh, and then we've got Danny Blonde in Portugal up against Trickter on a still world, which is non-moving, I think. So again, just going for another non-moving map to solidify his lead, or
Is
at least we'll
the
have to see.
theme of that map? Does
Uh,
Saying
anyone
that, sorry?
know? What is the theme of that map of the still world? I've never heard of it.
It's just created for no NMPZ,
Okay.
so that's why it's called still. So you have to stand still, basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, go
Sorry,
on.
you first.
No, yeah, that game, the last one here, I would say that generally I do not know how well Danny Blons is at Portugal, but we do know that Trictor is good at no moving. So I guess that's gonna play out indeed, maybe similar to what we have seen so far from him. Um, Schludy against W2F could be a close matchup because I think that the maps that they have chosen also are quite interesting here. Um, so Tomo at the Mexican U.S. Mexican border, yeah, could work out for him maybe. So have a look at that. The French Derby on the Loire River could be interesting, and then maybe some French Canadian locations in Canada would be nice for them.
yeah,
As we said, Dreifachpunkt against Pierre. Yeah, Dreifachpunkt's impressive so far, so slightly favorite here, I guess. Uh, well, yeah, Ollie we just mentioned, and then Brian in the Rockies home advantage against Madone on a volcanic world. No idea why he chose that one, so he might be able to explain it to us. It's a nice map by Radox, but for this kind of competition, I'm not sure if that would be my first choice, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm not sure why Schluty picked Ghana as well as in my opinion, that's like the worst country in Africa.
For
Just
some
like,
reason, he has been going for a lot of Africa maps in the first couple of weeks, actually.
okay, well, more power to him, I guess. But I do think that now you can kind of see the preferences of the players in which maps they're picking, whether it be no moving, a country map, a city map. Um, so that might be something to look out for if you want to be all strategic with your picks. But yeah, otherwise, I'm quite interested in a lot of these. Most picks seem pretty logical from the people. So
yeah. I think in most cases you could probably predict winners on individual maps, but the um, game as a whole uh, be up, um, would be a toss up. So it'll be exciting to see how those turn out. Uh, let's move one more division down. We've got Division 3 here. Uh, we have another um, tied game, Faraban versus Armand in Cambodia. An urban map, yes, but still Cambodia. Uh,
Yeah, Cambodia is not easy. We have had it in the Reddit League a few years ago, um, which then either resulted in someone doing a very good job or someone coming up with a very, very low score. So these two players clearly trained for that. and yeah, well done to him. Armand was a little bit faster and therefore won that map. Um, then also had a 25k also in Maikop in Russia, a small city. So that was definitely his number one choice for that week. So I guess he knew that city already, or he trained for it, or at least something like that. And yeah, Farman just missing out on one location there actually, um, and yeah, that cost him the game.
Yeah, we can see Jake with his non-moving maps picking up pretty hefty score differential once again, uh, which should help him on the standings. And we've got Labangrab versus Plucky ending in a draw, but a really close match there for places of worship that uh, maybe could have given Labangrab the win. Uh,
Yeah,
but
we know that Pluk is good in world maps from the Reddit League. So, Places of Worship is basically a world map, a map where you are ending up next to some sort of a sightseeing location. But still, world map is a world map. So I was not expecting him to do anything worse than this there. In Poland, he might have slipped up a bit there. And
mhm.
yeah, that. But Laban Grab is also not a pushover to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, and he picks up a bonus point from that as well, I believe.
Yes.
Max picking Southwest Australia is a bit of a weird one to me. I don't remember him really fancying Australia. Maybe he knows Ottawa's bad at it. I don't know. Kind of stood out to me at the start.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do not remember if this was a choice or that this was a random pick, but
Oh yeah, could be random, of course. Yeah.
mhm.
yeah.
I do remember uh, being surprised by it on last week's show. Uh, Other than that, we only have Jake and Armand picking up wins this week, as we'll see in the standings over here. Both of them propelled to the top of the table, but actually now six players all with wins so far.
Mm,
Uh,
indeed. So it's quite a tight table in comparison to the other divisions so far that we have seen. I'm not really sure now anymore, but at least in the other ones we had like a bit more of a split up, I think, in between the people. But yeah, Jake taking advantage of picking the same map here and yeah, going top of the league so far. But yeah, Armand with a 95k so far and three perfect scores is definitely pushing him.
Yeah, I am not too surprised with the top four, and not that I don't that I definitely think they're the best of the bunch, but I do know these players and that they can all have like a good, very good performance if they're practicing it. Although in my opinion, this division is quite stacked with a lot of established players in general, like Ice Faru, Max Slaben, down there, got Ottawa, who's also still quite good despite not having the greatest start. So I'm actually quite interested in these. Also, a few names that I don't know: Teaser, Sulfur. So yeah, this division is actually quite strong still. So I'm quite interested to see how it will go.
yeah, I think we might end up seeing Jake and Trickter go for a battle to see who can get the highest score differential over the course of the season.
Unfortunately, I don't think you can get points for that, but that would be a fun head-to-head, I guess.
Yeah. Uh, and yeah, like you mentioned, Armand with three perfect scores. Um, that's definitely gonna help with his ranking if it comes down to that later on in the season. Uh, yeah. Uh, On to the fixtures for week 3. We've got Ottawa in South Africa up against Altenburg in Yogyakarta in Indonesia. We've got Max on this worldwide map with one location per city or town, and Laban Greb going for 5 urban locations in Uruguay, which um, maybe um, maybe his Argentine background could help him there. Uh, Sulfur is in Sweden, and Jake, for the third week in a row, has an official Uncommon World for his map pick. We'll see how much longer he can continue that streak. Nakira is on Alex Tropical. I have no idea. Uh, and his opponent, Lunacy Echo, is in New Mexico. Fairbairn has gone for another Russian city. I I actually forgot who took the Russian map we looked at just a second ago.
Armand took that Russian map. This one is
Ah,
for Paraban.
yeah. So yeah, Fairbairn's in Novokuznetsk, while Tisa is in Connecticut, uh, which is going to be pretty small. So we should see some pretty high scores there, I do think. Armand has five that is five random countries, I believe.
Correct. Yes.
So yeah, four European countries, but we've got Bhutan in the mix there, which could be the differentiator. But then Seppo's opponent has Bangladesh, which isn't an easy map by any means either. And then finally we got Plucky in Italy up against the 59 Soundbite in the United Kingdom. So he's got the home advantage.
Yep. Again, some interesting maps here. I would say that like Ice Terror going or Altenwood going for Yogyakarta is a very interesting choice. Um, so I guess he is something that he wants to train and or maybe already knows, who knows, and yeah, that he feels like he could beat his opponent in. Um, yeah, Uruguay. You mentioned that he has some Argentinian background there, but also this is a map that both of the players have actually played in Reddit League, so that is something that is coming back to them. Um, Seofer in Sweden, I don't know about that because I have no really much of an idea as in where what kind of maps he would be good at, except for Germany, of course. um, but yeah, Jake going it for no moving pending zooming this time, so maybe that will be a lower score, maybe still you know a score differential, but um, like the total score will be lower, so that may end up in a lower position in the weekly ranking. Then we have Nakiro against Lunacy. I guess that can go either way for me, to be honest. Um, I guess both of them. I mean, like the maps that they have chosen or that they have been assigned um, give for quite a lot of space both sides. So I really don't really know what that's going to bring. Faraban knows Cyrillic, so that might be his advantage here. But then teaser at US map is also an advantage. And Seppo chose Bangladesh as his second choice, to be honest. So
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe there is also something there that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So really looking forward to that game actually because Armand has been impressive. So yeah, looking forward to see what's going to happen there. And yeah, Plucky on Italy against the Soundbite in his UK home country. Yeah, can be interesting too.
About those city maps, like Farban asked, do they choose a specific city or is it already given? Like
This
with
one was already given. Yeah.
okay, because otherwise I would wonder why out of all cities you would pick Novokuznetsk, but that would make more
No,
sense
that
then.
that was
Mm-hmm.
randomly assigned. So in some cases they are randomly assigned, and in other
Okay.
cases people can choose them. So yeah.
Well, I'm definitely curious that Armand has four European countries and then just out of the blue, Bhutan. Maybe he went there. I don't know. Um,
No. That's also random.
Yeah.
oh, really? Because I thought Paulinho had a map where he picked countries
Correct.
close
Yeah,
to
yeah.
him.
No, there are different options. So one time we need a country where, sorry, a randomly assigned four, five countries, or we can have a map where you can actually pick them. So there are different ones.
Okay, that makes more sense then. Except on Bangladesh, yeah, that's a bit of an odd one. But if he thinks that will give him an advantage, sure. Maybe he knows Armand is terrible at Bangladesh. To be fair, I think everyone is not good at Bangladesh, but um, Yeah, otherwise, not really much to say about it. A few logical choices, few out there choices, so to say. Yeah, like I said, the division is stacked, so these games should be close, I think.
Yeah, I think with Seppo we could see a sort of surprise upset coming, like we saw with Edward, with the Silhouette map last week.
Mm, could
Uh,
be.
I guess we'll just have to see. And Bhutan could really throw a wrench in the works for both of them, maybe. Um, yeah, let's move on. We've got Division 4 up. And for the third division in a row, we've got a tie at a perfect score. Jack, ES, and Bitlympics tying in Aqaba in Jordan, right there.
Yeah, Jack was a little bit faster, and therefore in Aqaba, so therefore he got a good win there. But then winning the second match as well, and therefore Bitlympics got a bonus win.
Yeah, just home field advantage for Jack in Austria gives um, him the win right there. We've also got Pastetli picking up a pretty narrow win against Renata there um, on both maps. Just over 100 points away in Switzerland and 30 points.
Yeah, very good matchup, and I guess a well-deserved bonus point.
Yeah, I guess Renata will be hoping you could get 2 bonus points for 2 close matches, but um,
What was
Yeah,
the
but
time boost for her
that's
again?
uh,
still
Portugal and Spain.
Okay.
Portugal and Spain. Yeah, yeah. No, that is, but that will still be more than 100 points anyway. So,
Oh yeah. Uh,
but yeah, it would be nice to get 2 bonus points, but that's not working the way.
mhm. uh, but on the other hand, Clemens picking up a very well-deserved win with Islands of the World, and also actually a pretty hefty win in Curacao as well. Like 2,500 points off,
Yeah,
if I can
honestly,
recall.
to if we can be honest, like Clemens, who relegated from the fifth division in Reddit League, um, to be honest, I think that he is the player that has impressed me personally the most so far this season.
Okay. Well, he's got some expectations riding on him now. We also have Hugo versus
Oh no, no,
Edward up
I'm
there.
not giving any expectations to anyone.
Oh,
I'm just saying that his scores, in comparison to what I've seen from him before, yeah, are very impressive. So keep it up, I would say. But yeah, no pressure.
yeah. Just above it, we've got Hugo versus Edward. Hugo picks up a win with a perfect score in Temuco, which probably was no surprise there, but we can see Edward's urban advantage last week maybe not carrying over into this one.
Yeah, no, I think that Edward did not have so much time. He mentioned something like that, so maybe he couldn't train so well this time. But yeah, Hugo on his home country, obviously that's going to be a tough battle anyway. And also Hugo did have some advantage. Oh, Botswana, I was gonna say for Reddit League, but maybe Edward was in there as well.
Mm,
Could be actually. Yeah, I forgot.
yeah.
Either way, I mean, like, yeah, but yeah, Hugo in Chile is just going to be very tough to beat, I guess. What
I,
else do we have?
I think the remaining
Uh,
three matchups, Michael versus Art Boca, Connor versus Seb, and Calamity versus Headache Me, sort of just going under the radar, pretty much expected victories where you'd expect it. Um, and actually, with Michael's NMPC World, um, that score differential, not as much as I was thinking, but actually both of them picking up pretty hefty score
yeah,
differences
yeah,
there.
but Michael is also a player who definitely is going for no moving maps. You can already see that. So that is something that we or that other players might need to look out for, because he is doing quite well on those. Ortboka, not the best score at all. 13K, but yeah, 19K against you is still quite a big of a difference, of course. Then on the other hand, Ortboka showing his Reddit League World Map experience and picking up the win there, or for that map at least. Um, then we have Connor and Seb, clear winners on each maps, on their own map, of course, so that's fine. And yeah, Calamity using the Red League advantage there as well with Kyrgyzstan. Um, but yeah, him on photospheres is always going to be tough. Um, and I don't know how well Me normally knows photospheres, but he definitely trained for this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I do think it's quite funny to see that you can see now that when people prefer no moving or moving, that you can quite see what aspect of geoguessr they're good at. And I think that that makes this league quite fun, I'd say, because um, you do get to have a look in the preferences of people that have. So, and I was surprised, for example, that Michael apparently really likes MPZ. So, yeah, and for me, that does inspire me to maybe try and get a bit better at no moving, so I don't feel like I ever have a chance when I do have a no moving map once in a while.
yeah. Uh, let's move on to the standings for week two. We've got Jack and Clemens with 6 points each at the top of the table. Both of them with perfect winning streak so far. Let's see how much further they can carry that on. Uh, After that, we've got Hugo, Edward, Paranoid, and Pestetli, the only other players with wins over here.
Yeah, we see two Austrians at the top, but it's not the one that I expected to be at the top at the beginning of the season, so that's quite interesting to see. Then Hugo and Edward, definitely a good start for both of them. Nice to see Hugo up there after we know that he has been having quite some unlucky moments in Reddit League. So yeah, happy for him to see him up there. And the one to watch, maybe Renata here because 97K total score so far. That is not
Oh
bad at
my,
all.
yeah. Uh, that might be one of the highest we've had the season. But about Calamity, I think maybe he might be taking a bit of a breather after finally getting promotion in Reddit League. Just taking this one a bit easy. We'll see if he can maybe make a fight to get back to the top of the table here.
I mean, I don't think it really helps that he had like that photosphere map, which is not his biggest strength. He just likes usually normal moving maps. So like maybe if he gets an opponent's map where he can maybe pull stuff off, then I do think that he should be uh, how do you say that, going up in the standings.
Yeah, and unfortunate to see Olympics down with a perfect score all the way at the bottom of the table. Uh, uh, we'll see if we can turn that around.
Yeah, no, indeed. That is the unfortunate thing. If you have a perfect score and you still lose, then yeah, then that will show in the ranking like that. But yeah, no, he's definitely a player that may be able to climb up as well. But I mean, like there's a few others as well because Sepkiers and Orboka, we know how they can play. So definitely not secure to be in the bottom there as well.
If I had to go with like the names I see on this in this division, I would say that this table could really change drastically in the couple of weeks, because I do think this seems like quite a competitive league, really, even if it's the fourth division. There's a lot of names that I know here and know that they could beat each other definitely on a good day. So I think this is one we should look out for, this division.
Okay then. Uh, as for week three, here's how the matches have shaped up. We've got Paranoid Android on Urban Guesser up against Calamity with 5 urban locations in Malaysia after Kyrgyzstan is going for another one of these. Uh, we've got Bitolympic.
Again, Reddit League history, huh? So
Oh,
But
Uh,
I think he does like Malaysia too. He said that like a couple of times, I think.
Yeah.
uh, was Malaysia on Reddit League? Or
Yeah.
Season two, it was
Yeah.
it was the last week of season two, I think.
okay.
Yeah. And urban guesser is something that actually against Calamity might be a smart tactic, to be honest. I mean, like he can definitely play urban locations, but Calamity may sometimes be lost in a bigger city. So yeah, that could
Mhm.
be
And if I remember correctly, he doesn't.
chosen.
Sorry.
No, yeah, go on.
If I remember correctly, he doesn't particularly enjoy world maps. Uh, which.
I think he's fine with world maps. He mostly just doesn't like big cities.
Yeah,
Okay. Uh, okay. Well, that could be the main issue there. Uh, Next up, we've got Bitlympics on GeoBetter World 2, up against Hidikmi with home field advantage in France. Uh,
absolutely.
then we've got Edward with Subotica, another urban map. Um, maybe his disappointing performance in urban maps this week was just an outlier. Um, and meanwhile, we've got Connor in Rondonia in Brazil uh, up against him.
Yeah, no, we can definitely see that Edward is focusing on city maps. So that is something that he feels more comfortable with, I guess. And yeah, the Rondonia state is definitely not going to be easy for both of them.
Mhm. Next up, we've got Renata with guessable photospheres, another photosphere map showing up in this division, and Clemens home field advantage yet again with Austria. Uh,
Yeah, guessable photospheres is a map that is fun and doable. So definitely something to look out for. Clemens in Austria should win there. But yeah, could be a good matchup.
I'd be
Think
surprised if
of
he
a map.
didn't.
Sorry. Sorry.
Say again,
Yeah.
sorry?
I
I'd be oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you do have to be super confident in a map like guessable photospheres, because if it is guessable, as the name suggests, then Clemens is not gonna have pick up a bad score either, probably. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That was my point as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Next up, we've got Hugo with the Andes, which could be a pretty good advantage for him. While Michael has gone for world urban only, which, if I had to guess, is basically just urban guesser. But uh,
Yeah, more or less, indeed. Yeah, home turf again for Ugo, even though this time a bit wider. So
yeah,
yeah, we have to see how that's gonna play out. But I mean, I suppose that he's gonna do quite well also in the Andes.
yeah. Uh, and then we've got Pashtetli with Geodetective World, up against Ordboka with another world map, but this one with an equal country distribution.
Mhm.
Uh,
So kind of similar to the one with Clemens and Renata, I would say that indeed Geodetective World is doable and fun, but indeed, like there is a good chance that your opponent will do quite well on that as well. Um, yeah, and a world map is a world map and can go either way. And both Pastetli and Ordboka I expect to do quite well on those maps.
it's always the kind of like dilemma you will have with picking these maps. Like, are you gonna pick a map that's easy for you, but also easy for your opponent, or are you gonna go with something more out of the box to uh, to hope that that opponent will be bad at it?
Mm,
It's a
yeah.
fun little tactic.
yeah, that's a really interesting dimension to the strategy in this league. Uh, and finally, we've got Jack with Skoda, I think. I'm definitely butchering that. Uh,
Well, that I cannot confirm, but for
mhm,
me it sounded okay.
yeah. Uh, I mean, if it's the Americanized pronunciation, I'm definitely on point. But anyways, yeah.
And Ottoman Empire is sort of in the same area, obviously, so
Hmm.
but much wider. But that's for me a very hard to tell matchup because Well, Sepkiest is definitely a good player, and Jack has. I've seen him in many competitions on the Reddit as well, and he's always doing good. So, who's coming out of this one? I don't know.
I placed my money on Jack for that one. I think I know with a lot of the tours that we've had on Reddit, those are on like sort of smaller areas, and Jack typically does pretty well at those. So I'd place my money on
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Jack here.
I think I would fancy Hugo to win as well because I do think he's quite good at world maps as well. Not sure about urban locations, but I do remember also in Reddit League he also did always did well on world maps. So uh, again, who knows?
Yeah, and I guess we'll have to see whether Edward can find his mojo back with urban maps in Subotaka. So we'll see about that. Uh, let's move down. We've got Division 5A. Uh, unfortunately, Bear the Polyglot missing his match again this week. And I
Why do,
believe,
why do you give yellow cards to Curtis McPeak?
oh, that's also another one of the things I forgot to like move around.
That's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I believe we do have a replacement for Bear who will um, come in next week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's say it like this. So he did not play his second week right now. So indeed, he got an instant lose or loss, and then in case he does not play again this week or next week, that means that he will be replaced uh, by another player who is on the reserve list. We have found a guy called Flapper, and what we have already agreed on with his opponent for next week. We're already discussing next week now, but okay, let's just get it out of the way. So Timon is his opponent next week. He has agreed that if Bear the Polyglot does not play, then his replacement will already play next week, so that we do have a result in instead of giving him a free win.
Yeah, it's great to have some competition still going on in here.
But back to the results of this week.
Yeah, yeah. We've got two perfect scores in Dublin over here. Noisel versus GB. Noisel does win on tiebreakers, which gives him a draw overall to both of them. Uh,
Yeah, but Noisel had some issues here with the NMPZ, so
oh yeah,
yeah, unfortunately for him. But yeah, a great 25k for both of them there.
yeah. We also see Lord Pepsi picking up a win against Finn. Um,
For
up
me, not a surprise because there were two Eastern European maps. So
right.
yeah, knowing that he is from Montenegro, I was kind of expecting that to happen.
Yeah, and finally, Biquet actually coming pretty close to maybe upsetting Pingvin uh, on his home territory, but he does pick up a bonus point there, I believe, which should be good consolation prize.
Yep.
I find it a bit hard to say something about this division because this is where I start to not really know most of the players. But I do think the map choices here are a bit interesting. Hawkins is not that surprising, I guess, but Finn picking Eastern Europe, I'm like, okay, if he's apparently if he's going up against someone from that area, I wouldn't be so sure to pick that map. Um, yeah, otherwise, Civilization Alphabet seems like a pretty fun pick to have. I usually have them in my picks as well, a bit lower. Um, but if you like specialize in that, that could definitely work in your advantage. Alstein also an interesting one. Yeah, otherwise, not too much to say about it.
I found the result of M Wickham impressive in the UK, to be honest.
Hmm.
Um, so that's a very good score for him there. Um, and yeah, the bridges helping Roddox as we expected already last week, so that is good for him. Um, Kurt is a nice 24.8 score, even though that his opponent didn't play. So well done to him. Yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Mhm. I do think we are seeing a lot more of, I guess, the fun maps show up in lower divisions where maybe players don't know too much about their opponents.
In the first weeks, but I guess this is gonna even out throughout the season. To be honest.
Yeah, but what I mean is like, because a lot of the names over here aren't as well known as players in the higher divisions. You know, uh, they still remain the sort of um, open division, as we've discussed on our previous shows. So, um, as the season goes along, we'll see how these players face up against each other. Uh, as we'll see on the standings. We've got GB and Piquet up at the top with 5 points apiece. But
Yeah.
again, six different players with wins so far.
Yeah, and GB and Piquet are basically two late entries, just like Lord Pepsi is. So they've all been replacing people that unfortunately decided to drop out quite last minute. So interesting to see that these two players are up there straight away. Maybe they would have ended up in a higher division if they would have played the preseason. We don't know that, of course. And well, now we do have better Polyglot also most likely dropping out. So that makes this division maybe a bit unbalanced in comparison to what it should have been if everybody would have played the preseason. But yeah, that's hard to tell. That the future will need to show that.
I did
It
make a
still looks
mistake.
like.
Uh,
Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, I did make a mistake. There are seven people with wins, but Sausage Wipe without a win is still ahead of Lord Pepsi.
Right? Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, this does seem a bit like a top-heavy table to me, where you could maybe see, uh, like on this level, you could see discrepancy between players that maybe train a lot more and others that, I don't know, might are just in for the fun. Uh, yeah, of course, I'm hoping it's going to be a bit more competitive than that. So I hope my assumption is incorrect in that aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing that I would mention here, on top of what we see, is that Pingvin, the V, Pingvin, as we have to pronounce it, has total score of 88,000. So the highest or the second highest in this league. So we have to keep an eye on him as well.
Hmm.
Oh, it's a bit unlucky results
Yeah,
for him, I guess.
Yeah. We do have Radox with a very high score differential, although I don't know if that is due
that's
to him.
because of he played against better polyglots.
Okay,
So
yeah, okay. Uh, I figured as much. Uh, but yeah, there's still some really high score differentials
same for
in this
Curtis, of
division.
course, there as well.
Right. Uh, Anyways, on to the fixtures for week 3. We've got GB with an urban map in Manaus in Brazil. Finn also going for an urban map with 5 urban locations in Estonia, which,
So
uh,
Finnish battle in Estonia
yeah, um,
and Brazil.
if I'm not mistaken, it shouldn't be too hard for him. They're fairly similar, I want to say, although I
Oh,
don't know how much.
Finn is not really from Finland, so
Oh,
maybe
okay,
that.
Is he
okay.
from the UK?
Yeah, he's from the UK.
Oh, yeah, he is. Right. Uh, okay, so then maybe not as much of a home map as I thought. Uh, we've, we've got Druve with North America, uh, which could be interesting. I know he
No
destroys.
moving, huh? This one.
Oh, okay. Hmm. He usually destroys me at US USNB duels, so maybe that'll help him here. And
Yeah,
then
I think that he is quite good at this kind of maps. And the Commonwealth of Nations obviously also includes maps that are in North America. So yeah, I would favor him for this matchup.
hmm. Next up, we've got Rafa with Queluz Belas in Portugal, which uh, it's a really interesting pick. It's like the suburb of Lisbon. Um,
Well,
and
it's not his pick. Uh, it was a randomly drawn
oh,
city.
okay,
Um, but he chose this as one of his top locations for the week. Um, yeah, it's gonna be a battle of the small cities because Neusel did pick a random assignment with um Colonia del Sacramento, but he actually chose that city to be the random pick. So
okay,
this is going to be an interesting small city battle. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see.
okay.
I
Yeah,
haven't heard of either of these cities actually. Where's Colonia del Sacramento?
I just
I
searched
think,
it up, and it's in Uruguay, just across from Buenos
yeah,
Aires.
it's a small
Oh, right.
city
Okay.
in
Yeah,
Uruguay.
yeah. I think I just know it as Colonia. Yeah. Fair
Uh,
enough.
yeah,
So yeah, that's those are two not big cities at all, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting
hmm,
matchup between the two.
yeah. Radox is also going with North America, although I think that one
That one is moving, yes.
moving. Okay. Yeah, and then he's going up against Sausage Wipe with world cities over 100,000 citizens.
Yeah.
Uh,
So for me personally, the Radox would be the favorite for this map, for this matchup.
okay. Uh, then we've got Bear the Polyglot with 5 urban locations in Kenya. Again, we'll see how that turns out, but at the moment,
Yeah,
uh,
so this could also be Flapper against Timon, as we
yeah,
just mentioned.
Slapper against Diamond. And Diamond's going for Civilization Alphabet Y. I think he's just going for Civilization Alphabet maps now. I think he.
Yeah, he does seem to like them. He didn't know really what to expect from them in the beginning, but then he's like, okay, I played them a few times. I'm gonna go for these.
Yeah. Uh, Penguin is on an official extraordinary world. Um, and then he's up against Lord Pepsi in Maribor in Slovenia. And
Yeah,
fine.
again, a city in his home, well, not home country, but home area. So he might be doing quite well on that one. And Penguin, who has indeed, like what I said earlier, the second highest scorer in this division, he might definitely do okay on this interesting world map, so to say. Um, so yeah, I have to see how that is going to go. Equal
Small
matchup,
side
I would
note,
say.
I've been to Maribor. It's a lovely, lovely city. So so I hope Lord Pepsi will do well there.
I can confirm I made the map and it's. Or I made the feed, rather, and it does look pretty nice. Uh, and finally, we've got M. Wickham in Southeast Asia. And Curtis McPeak, also in Southeast Asia, is going
Yeah,
for Ampang Jaya in Malaysia.
that's going to be a very interesting matchup. I have no idea what to expect from that one.
Neither do I. That could go either way.
Yeah, there are definitely a few interesting matches in there. I do think that Radox, as he's not a big fan of pinpointing, might have quite some trouble with those world cities. Or well, it says 100k plus, so it depends on the size as well. But if it's like 4 million, you might struggle a lot. And if Sausage Wipe is good at uh, those kind of urban locations, I could see that going either way, really. Otherwise, yeah, quite some special choices here again. Really.
Hmm. I am looking forward to Rafa versus Neusel, the battle of the small towns. Um, I think that's the one I'm looking out most for. Here we've got the results for Division 5B. And we've got, what's that? 1, 2, 3 wins over here. Dad City, Laton, and Wakelock all picking up wins. Wakelock with a very hefty win against Valentin and Revia with the Welsh district.
Yeah, definitely showing the home advantage there. Valentin probably not training for that, and yeah, then it's very hard. Like this kind of smaller Welsh region is going to be yeah, quite hard if you don't know where to go,
Yeah,
or if you don't know where to put the marker on the map.
we're also sort of seeing a similar thing with Jakarta. Up there, both very low scores. Although it is a really difficult city to play in.
Yeah, Kiribati or Kiribati, sorry, definitely not training for that one either. But I think that indeed Ankomako also faced some difficulties there, but definitely pulled out a better score. So good job. And then also Kiribati showing what he can do in New Zealand.
Yeah. Um, this is also going to be a week to forget for Holzkopf. Um, uh, not very great scores on both the maps for this week, while Latomp actually over 24k on both.
Yeah, very impressive result to be honest. So I have to say that. I think he is training a lot.
And it's definitely showing.
Whale Wizard having Bhutan is a bit of an interesting one. Um, didn't he accidentally practice Ecuador instead of the equator? I read that somewhere.
Yeah, I think that did happen.
I think wasn't it Jean actually thinking he picked Ecuador instead of Equator?
Okay, then I just
It was something like
misremember.
that at least, yeah.
Uh, uh,
Um,
because they
but
are the
but
same in
we can
French,
see
right?
that Jean did really train the Equator later and did a good job there.
Yeah, about 1500 points ahead of Water Wizard over there. Um,
Bombadil might be a little bit unlucky here with not getting a bonus point, to be honest. But yeah,
uh, yeah. Although the game in Daegu is gonna do wonders for his score differential. With almost 10, actually almost 9,000 points. Right there in his favor. And here we have the standings as it turned out after week 2. Um, we actually have 4 people with 4 points at the top of the division. Uh, we've got Wakelock, we've got Koala Wizard, and Dad City, each with 4 points there. But Jenner Harrison is the only one with a perfect score in this division so far, which might be a bit surprising. I don't know.
The two most
yeah, I don't know.
established players on here, for me at least, are Wakelock and Quail Wizard. I'm not too surprised they're on top, but and can't say too much about these tables early on. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
maybe
think
a bit surprising that Joe Gare might not be that high yet, but he probably will come up as well.
yeah, I could see
Uh,
Bombadil get up there as well. He's
yeah,
just below top four, so no, yeah. Again, I'm not too familiar with most of these names. I will definitely waiting to see how it will go, and maybe some players will surprise me, um, like Letamps has for me.
Yeah, I think we'd normally favor some of our Reddit League veterans, but Jenna Harrison is really standing out from the pack over here. Um, at least not someone
He got a
I.
25k as well.
Oh yeah, uh, but yeah, not someone I had known before this, or like seen anywhere, and he's already at the top of the division, which is great to see.
absolutely.
Uh, has Wakelock been picking a lot of non-moving maps because that score differential seems pretty high up there.
I don't think so, to be honest. No,
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's
He,
just.
he just did really well in the
it was
Wild
the Welsh
division, I
one. Yeah,
think.
the
Ah,
Welsh
okay.
one that
Right.
gave him a lot of points.
Uh, yeah. Uh, uh, we actually, we actually do have a sort of the split between the Frenchmen in the division as well. Arga and Afi both sitting at the bottom of the table, while Jenner, Harrison, and Letop are making their way towards the top. So yeah, just something interesting to note there. Uh, let's round out the show this week with the week 3 fixtures for the division. We've got Arga on an unusual world. up against Dakapaka on Civilization Alphabet J this time.
Yeah, so that unusual world is definitely a pick by Arga. But so he must be feeling okay with the map, but it has to be pointed out it was only his 20th choice. So
Hmm. Oh my. Uh, Next up we got Le Temps with Mitzpe Ramon. I think
that
uh
was his personal choice. Yes.
yeah.
So I'm expecting him to do quite well on that map, and then Dutch on South Korean islands.
Another city
Um,
I've never heard of.
Dutch has pointed out to me that he does not feel like submitting maps, and he just wants to go random. So he just gets what
Okay.
he gets, and yeah, that's what he gets. South Korean islands. So good luck.
Yeah, he's playing by the roulette wheel now.
Sorry, what?
He's playing by the roulette wheel at this point. Just
Yes.
leave it up to chance. Uh, Next up we've got Joger in Czechia. Uh, Up against Anchor on All the Places You Will Go. Another one of the fun maps we've got on the roster.
Yeah, but that's basically just a world map. So yeah, in this case, I would definitely favor Joguer, given the fact that he does have also indeed um, quite some good results in Reddit League from time to time. So I would definitely think that he would be the favorite for this matchup.
Yeah. Next up we've got Valentin in Lithuania, which I think we had that in the list of a few weeks ago. Um, and then Haltkop has gone for Konkan in Thailand, which is
Well, that's a random map.
okay.
Lithuania is a chosen map, so for this reason, I would favor Valentin on this one.
Hmm. And then Kiribati has gone for Marsaskala in Malta, uh, and then Jean Harrison has gone for 5,000 roundabouts, of which he'll get only five. So, uh,
Yes, indeed.
Sounds
Um,
like a fun one.
I
mhm,
hope it is. I created it for that fun reason.
yeah,
um, I would give maybe the favor here to Kiribati, even though that Schön is on top of the league. Um, because yeah, I mean, like given that fact, it would it be really an upset if Kiribati won that game? I don't think so, to be honest. So let's give it a try and see how far that's going to go for him. Marsaskala is definitely a trainable city,
yeah,
and the roundabouts are all over the world. So good luck with that.
yeah. I think Marsaskala just by generating seeds, I've already trained. So, uh, with like two seeds, you're pretty much ready to go, honestly. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Uh, Next up, we've got Bombadil, with a city in Andorra, which I believe is just Andorra La Vella.
It
Uh,
is, yes, yes.
and then, I mean, I don't. There's only like one other option, isn't there? Uh, and then we've got Wakelock with the Pacific Ocean. Uh,
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting matchup because both of them, I feel like, are quite decent players. So, um, but the fact that Bombadil is maybe confident in Andorra might edge him. Might go in his way. So, um, I might expect that to happen actually.
uh, yeah, and finally we've got Guala Wizard in Brazil against Afi in Greece. Both going for just plain old country map.
Yeah. Well, Guerrilla Wizard, given the fact that he is quite high in Reddit League in the divisions there, uh, should give him the favorite position. But those two maps, they can go either way, to be honest. So
Yeah,
it's a
maybe.
difficult matchup for sure.
Yeah, maybe if he can finally pull a win to get up
Yeah,
off
absolutely.
stardom.
I don't know how good he is in Greece, but
Mm, yeah,
I
I feel
know that
like a
he is.
Whale Wizard here could be could have like a very good how do you say that, good position after this week if they win this game.
Yeah, but I've seen Effie play in Intercomu also in Greece. So when I was playing Greece there, so maybe he has already been working towards this from a while ago. So yeah, that could be something.
Okay, then. That does it for week 2 of our show. Um, uh, Thank you both for coming on the show. This has been great. And yeah, we'll be back in another week.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you for having me.